The bombing in Afghanistan and the still worsening pandemic. Today we'll discuss the Indiana impact of these two global tragedies as we go one-on-one with Congressman Andre Carson and Larry Bucshon, Senator Mike Braun, and Senator Bernie Sanders, who was here in Indiana this week. Plus the battle over infrastructure and what a new poll says about crime in Indianapolis. It's all ahead this Sunday in Focus.
Forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
President Biden speaking to the nation Thursday after the attack in Afghanistan that killed more than a dozen members of the U.S. military. Friday night, we learned one of those Marines was Humberto Sanchez, a graduate of Logansport High School.
I am disgusted and angry with the leadership in this country, starting with the president right now. We knew this was going to happen. As I've talked to other veterans out in the district where I'm at right now, we knew that something like this was going to happen. And my fear right now, and I pray that this doesn't happen, but my fear is that something else is going to happen.
Congressman Greg Pence there. We're going to have more reaction from Indiana's congressional delegation today as the evacuation continues. Indiana's Republicans putting out a joint statement critical of the president's handling of the crisis. We're also following the latest on the global pandemic and the impact here in Indiana. The FDA giving full approval to the Pfizer vaccine this past week as the situation continues to worsen here in the Hoosier State. Good morning. A number of big stories to cover this week. As you see here, coronavirus cases have been steadily climbing across our state in recent weeks, but still no new restrictions from health officials here in Indianapolis. Our Bianca Reyes spoke with Marion County Health Director Dr. Virginia Kane this past week.
Right now, I'm not looking at imposing any greater restrictions with the exception of just trying to recommend to school systems, please, encourage your staff and your employees to get vaccinated.
What metrics is the county looking at when it comes to deciding if or when more restrictions are needed for the county?
So here's the thing. This is a new variant, and so it doesn't always act like we did for the original strain. So we don't look at just one metric that we choose that we're going to trigger this. We have to look at multiple metrics.
State officials also looking at the metrics closely, as they explained in a press briefing on Friday.
I think we are fully expecting and preparing that things are going to get much worse with our hospitalizations here in the next 4 weeks.
Hospitalizations have been on the rise here and across the country. As you see here, those numbers are specifically climbing sharply among the unvaccinated. That's what you see in the top line. The green line there at the bottom represents hospitalizations among people who are vaccinated, increasing somewhat, slightly, but at a much, much slower rate. This as the FDA gives full approval to the Pfizer vaccine, something I spoke about on Wednesday with Indiana Congressman Larry Bucshon. You're a member of Congress, but you're also a doctor. What will this mean in terms of getting shots out to more people across the country and here in Indiana?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I do think it's important to get full approval. As you know, we were under an emergency use authorization, and I think that made a lot of people nervous about getting the vaccine. So I'm very hopeful that full FDA approval, which comes with a rigorous evaluation of the vaccine, will encourage people to get the vaccine.
We also heard this week that the Pentagon will be requiring the vaccine for U.S. service members. What are your thoughts on that move?
Well, I'm a little ambivalent about it. I mean, I don't believe in government mandates. I don't believe the federal government should be telling citizens what to get as far as medical therapy. But on the other hand, you know, the Department of Defense is a unique organization that defends the country. And I think from that standpoint, I understand why they're doing it. But more broadly on mandates, I don't believe in federal mandates for medical therapy.
Speaking of our military, obviously the situation in Afghanistan continues to be front and center this week. Yeah. We're approaching this August 31st deadline next week. Republicans and some Democrats have been critical of the president's handling when it comes to that deadline specifically and the way this has all taken place. What are the solutions here? What do you want to see done to make this situation happen as best as possible right now?
Well, first of all, I want to thank all our veterans that have been over there fighting and defending our country and along with our allies for over 20 years. Your efforts aren't in vain. We've kept our country safe. I just want to say that out front. Thank you, veterans and their families. I think it's right now focused on an evacuation mission. We had a briefing yesterday in Washington, and we need to know how many Americans are there, how many of our allies are there, and Afghan citizens that helped us. I think I'm pretty skeptical that we can get everybody out by August 31st. And that's not a partisan issue. We have bipartisan members of Congress telling the administration to reconsider a hard deadline. And the deadline should be when all of our citizens are out of the country and safe. So we'll see where that goes. I'm skeptical, though, that we can make this happen by August 31st.
We'll see how it all plays out here in the days to come. We're also following a lot of news in Congress this week. There was a vote on the reconciliation package passed by Democrats and all tied in with the infrastructure bill that will likely now be voted on within the next month. Your reaction on what we saw this week from Democrats in the House?
Yeah, well, I think the focus was wrong. And let me just say that out front. I think they called us back to vote on things not related to what's happening in Afghanistan. And I think we should have been focusing on Congress doing everything we can to make sure that we have the ability to get all our citizens out. That said, this was a budget resolution that had to pass so that the Democrats can try to push through a lot of their policies. There's a long way to go. I think there's a lot of Democrats who voted for the budget resolution who don't support a lot of the policies. So I'm really skeptical that they can get this across the finish line. I don't support it because it's a massive expansion of all kinds of federal programs that cost a lot of money.
All right, my interview there with Congressman Larry Bouchon. This week, our Kristen Eskow spoke with 2 U.S. senators about this infrastructure debate and about the situation in Afghanistan. Senator Bernie Sanders was here in the Hoosier State this week. Kristen spoke with him and with Indiana Senator Mike Braun.
How do you sell this $3.5 trillion budget plan in a state where most of the people's congressional delegation doesn't support it?
Well, it's interesting, and that's a good question. In Washington, we have zero support from the Republicans, zero for this bill. On the other hand, what we see is that working class Republicans all over this country do support the bill.
And will it be paid for through tax increases?
Sure it will, but the tax increases are going to go on the wealthiest people in this country. And for too long, we have given massive tax breaks to billionaires. There are some billionaires out there who in a given year pay zero in federal income tax.
If you want more federal government, and you're willing to borrow the money to do all the stuff that's laid out there, Bernie's probably your guy. He definitely believes in that.
I get your reaction to House Democrats reaching a deal this week to move forward with the infrastructure bill as well as the budget bill.
That is no surprise to me because Speaker Pelosi has said these two are connected from the journey of a couple months ago in terms of where we're going to arrive at. And the compromise, I think, was with some of the few moderates in her party that they'll get a vote on the hard infrastructure bill by the end of September. And that, to me, still means they're linked at the hip.
Kristen Eskow there with Senators Mike Braun and Bernie Sanders. Also this week, I spoke with Congressman Andre Carson about several big issues in the news, including Afghanistan and these infrastructure bills moving through Congress. And on Thursday, I asked him if he was comfortable with the price tag of the $3.5 trillion House spending bill.
I think it's premature to draw a line in the sand over the numbers that have yet to even be written. But the budget resolution that's on the House floor, that was on the House floor this week, ended up getting the full support of a lot of folks, even the Progressive Caucus. So, I think trying to figure out numbers that will satisfy various House priorities and philosophies and satisfy the Senate is very hard to determine at this point. But what is clear is that we have to address our country's infrastructure needs going into the future. I mean, this is a robust bill. It's bipartisan in nature, and it sets to create 15 to 20 million jobs over the next decade.
Congressman Bouchon also said he thought the House should be focused right now on the situation in Afghanistan. We are approaching that August 31st deadline next week amidst these reports of an explosion outside the airport in Kabul Thursday morning. Another Indiana Republican, Congressman Jim Banks, an Afghanistan veteran, said this about the situation there this past week.
If any American is harmed, injured, or killed and not safely evacuated out of Afghanistan, or if any of these weapons or this military equipment is used to harm, injure, or kill an American now or at any time in the future, the blood is on Joe Biden's hands.
What's your response to that?
Well, look, President Biden he joined a virtual meeting with the G7 leaders to discuss continuing our close coordination on Afghanistan's policies, humanitarian assistance, and evacuating our U.S. citizens, and supporting the brave Afghans who stood with us over the last 2 decades. I think that our global partners understand that the mission in Kabul will end based on the achievement of our objectives. We're currently on pace to complete our mission by the 31st of August this month. And we want to evacuate Americans who want to come home, and third country nationalists and Afghans who were our allies during the war. We saw the explosion that took place in Kabul at the airport, which signals to us that we need all hands on deck. Firstly, to secure Americans who are currently there, over 1,500, to get them back safely to their families, but also those refugees who are fleeing the country as we speak. We have to make sure we have a safe pathway for those folks as well.
Congressman Andre Carson there in an interview Thursday morning. This week, we did hear from Governor Holcomb about the possibility of Indiana taking in refugees from Afghanistan. Here's what he had to say.
We are here to help refugees who were there for us. This state is grateful for the last 20 years when bullets were flying and people were dying, for folks who were in harm's way, so it wouldn't come here like it did 20 years ago.
Now, in a statement, the governor added Indiana grieves alongside the world on the loss of the 13 U.S. service members who put their lives on the line. He says, as a country and as a state, we need to be unified in honoring and paying our respects to the ones who paid the ultimate price. Well, coming up next this Sunday in Focus, more reaction to the crisis in Afghanistan. We'll talk about the impact here in Indiana and for the president and his approval numbers. Then later, what do Hoosiers think of the rising crime numbers in Indianapolis? Another new poll out today. We'll look at those numbers coming up later this morning.